Hey, welcome! Today I'll be reviewing a game that every fan of the NES has already covered, meaning this video might get 2 views overall. But that doesn't really matter to me. You see, I just accidentally finished Journey to Silius for the first time while attempting to capture footage for a VGM 101 podcast. Visuals? For an earhole medium? Well, we archive all our old episodes of that podcast on here, and I usually like to accompany the audio with some game footage when I can. Hey, did you know that this was supposed to be a Terminator game? Journey to Silius is a super tight, fairly challenging run-and-gunner with a stellar soundtrack. That pretty much covers it. Oh, and Journey to Silius was supposed to have the Terminator license. In all honesty, Journey to Silius is great, but not perfect. The NES had a ton of platform games and shooters, and this is one of the more competent ones, but it's also one that requires a lot of memorization through trial and error. In other words, it's a pretty typical 8-bit Sunsoft entry. The presentation is top-notch all around, and yeah, it performs perfectly, but there's just something missing here in the gameplay. The action feels rather bland. Enemies normally attack one at a time instead of in groups, which feels fair and balanced considering how limited the player's basic moves are, but there are also so many outstanding alternatives like Contra, Power Blade, and Mega Man for the system. These basic movements work the way they are intended, but makes the game feel like a stuttered start and stop affair. Slowly dispatching of the robotic baddies that impede progress from left to right is the basic structure of the game here. It sounds a bit rudimentary and repetitive on paper, but the giant screen-filling spectacles that are the bosses are a real highlight, and the game is less than half a dozen stages long, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. Before every big baddie, the player is forced into a fight with a mini-boss of sorts, which is unique and a bit strange. I mean, like right before each stage's final challenge, there's a smaller, robotic one. It's odd that the developers didn't place it before a mid-level checkpoint or something, but I guess it's unexpected and different, so I can't complain that much. Especially since these enemies drop new gun power-ups. Honestly though, you're kinda better off using the stock pistol since all of the new firearms share a singular energy bar that depletes rather quickly. Naoki Kodaka's soundtrack is, well, Naoki Kodaka quality. This man was absolutely prolific when he was with Sunsoft. Let me put it this way, if you remember a good soundtrack from the era when Sunsoft actually made games instead of offering licenses out to shitty third-party Western developers, Kodaka's music was probably attached. Overall, Journey to Silly String is a pretty great run and gunner that still holds up all these years later. The presentation is top-notch, the controls are superb, and Kodaka's soundtrack is as memorable as it is brilliant. The game doesn't exactly go out of its way to pave any new paths, but what it does well. Oh, and don't forget that it was actually supposed to be a Terminator title, actually. Oh, you. So pick it up and play it. Relive the days when Sunsoft were at the top of their game.